All right, for Unit 4, Section A, we're going to be looking at the geography of the colonies, and we're going to start off by looking at each region and then looking at examples of specific colonies. A quick reminder, we are doing active watching when we're in class and when we're watching this video. That means you listen to a specific part of a video, pause it, complete a task, you rewind if you don't understand something, and once you have listen to something twice, then if you still have a question, you're welcome to ask me. All right, to start off, you're going to need Cornell note sheet. There are copies on that front table if you don't already have one. And ultimately, this is going to go on page 78 in your notebook, but you can leave it out for now if you want. All right, so a quick refresher. You don't need to write these notes down. I will tell you exactly what to write. But we have 3 colonies. We have the New England colonies, well, 3 regions, the New England region, the Middle region, and the Southern region. And these all have different colonies in them. Okay, your first Cornell notes, your main idea is going to be New England, and then your details are going to be the notes here. I will add in more as we go through this, but I just want to give you a little bit of information and then make you do some thinking on your own, try to problem solve, and then I will tell you some facts, right? So those New England colonies are these ones in red. Okay, so that is the New England region up here. And we actually still call that New England today. So they named this New England because it was going to be a new England, meaning England over in Europe. So that gives you a clue if you didn't already know that these colonies are from England. All right, your first question you're going to answer in Zaption with your partner is going to be a Rally Robin. And a quick refresher on Rally Robin. For a minute, and you can pull up Google Timer. If you just search Google Timer, you'll be able to plug in 1 minute. You're going to individually write your lists. Person A, when the timer's up, person A shares one of their ideas, just one. Then person B shares one of their ideas, and then person A again, person B again, and it continues that way until everything has been said. All right. So here's the picture you will need, and the question should pop up in a moment. So go ahead and pause this once it does, and start your timer. All right. The next few questions, you're going to use a Rally Coach to do those. And a quick refresher on a Rally Coach is person A answers any questions that is labeled person A. However, before they type anything in, they have to tell their answer to person B, and person B has to agree with it or help them fix it, and then they can type it in. The same thing goes for person B. When the question is labeled person B has to ask person A, tell it to them. Once they have told them, then they can type. If you start typing before you tell the person the answer, you're not doing a Rally Coach the proper way. All right? So you should be getting a few questions about this picture to do some Rally Coach on. All right. Now we're going to go back to your Cornell notes. You already had colonies are near oceans. Let's add some more. Their main food source, as you could probably guess from the picture, is going to be fishing. Small game, because there are some forest back here, but I mean, look, they have all these fishing boats. They are clearly a port, so they have lots of water, so fishing is going to be a big thing. There was actually some farming, but with all that seawater, and it's actually a pretty rocky area where there's not forest, it was pretty difficult to farm. So it didn't really work out that well. Sometimes people would have small, almost like gardens, to just sustain themselves, but it wasn't a mass production like it's going to be in the middle and southern colonies. Their main contribution for economic purposes, meaning like things that would make them money, would be fishing and boat building. And so they would trade those things with the other colonies, and with their mother country, England. The main colonies we're going to look at in this region are the Massachusetts Bay, which had the Puritans, and Plymouth, which had the Pilgrims. Okay? And we will explore each of those colonies in more depth later. Okay? All right, once you're finished with these notes, go ahead and replay the video. Our next region we're going to look at is Middle Colonies. So this is going to be your new main idea, or key point, I guess I should say, in your Cornell notes. In the Cornell notes, I will tell you what to write, but this region is the one in orange. So that includes New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware. And again, we're going to start off with a rally robin. There's your reminder if you forgot. Here is your picture, and your question should be showing up soon. Pause the video, put up a timer for a minute, and then answer the question. All right, the next few questions are going to be a rally coach. Here's your quick refresher. And then here's your picture. The question should be popping up soon. All right. The Middle Colonies, as you can kind of see from this map, a lot of the things they did, they kind of were obviously they're a bridge. They're kind of that bridge economically too between the New England and Southern colonies. They kind of get some of the same economic contributions. And so not only are they a physical bridge, but they're actually economically as well. So they're going to get that farmland that is so much better than New England, but they also have the forests and the fishing because they are near the water, and they do have those same forests that Massachusetts, that is in a New England colony, would have. They have lumber from the forest and farming. They're pretty much like the Midwest is in the United States today. So for the original 13 colonies, they were like Kansas and Missouri and Iowa. They provided the main food source for the colonies, and they would trade with England as well. The main colonists we're going to see in this area were Quakers, who dominated most of this region, and that's a religion. So one kind of interesting thing, once you have this written down, so pause it if you need to. One kind of really interesting thing to note is that most colonies were only one religion at a time. So there were either a whole colony of Catholics, of Puritans, Quakers, Pilgrims, etc. Evangelicals are going to be the Pilgrims. Religious freedom was not common in the original colonies before the Revolutionary War. They got this idea of religious freedom because these people who came over and colonized were not allowed to practice their religion in England or in the other countries that they came from, because the Puritans are actually going to kind of move around and try to find a spot in Europe first. And so the fact that the Puritans weren't able to practice their religion in England, they're going to come over to America, start their own colony, but they're not going to allow any other religions to be practiced. All right, our next region, our last region, is the Southern colonies. So go ahead and write that under your your main idea. This is our green region. This has Maryland, Virginia, South Carolina, or North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Interesting story about Georgia. They actually were a debtor colony, meaning they would send people who could not pay their debts to this colony to work them off. That gets outlawed in America, but it was a common practice in Europe at the time. All right, so You're going to start off just like the other two with a rally robin. Here is your picture. Remember, you are going to put a timer for 1 minute and then pause this video while you answer the question. All right, the next thing is going to be a rally coach. I will put the picture back up and you can answer the questions with your partner. All right, here are our Southern colony notes. The geography was warm summers, mild winters. They did have to deal with swamps sometimes, so like that Louisiana and Florida, but they're going to be farmers, but a totally different way than the middle colonies. So the middle colonies, remember, they were farming wheat and corn and things that people could eat, so to help people survive. The southern colonies are going to have cash crops. And a cash crop is literally what it says. You get cash for it. So meaning you get money for it, not really food. Okay? These things are going to be shipped over to England, and that is going to be a money maker for England. So England is going to love the colonies because they're making money. The main cash crop is tobacco. Other ones included rice and indigo and later cotton. Side note, indigo is like it kind of looks like a blueberry. So it's like a berry. They're going to grow these on large plantations. And because they are growing cash crops, meaning their sole goal is to make money, they are going to be very practical about how they cut costs and how they make money. And so slavery is a very cheap option for labor. It's going to be a very practical option at the time, not necessarily thinking about the humanity of it all. A lot of the things that the colonists do are just practical things, meaning it just kind of makes sense. It's not going to follow an ethics standard all the time. The important colony that we're mainly going to look at for this region is Jamestown, Virginia, and that would be that story with John Smith and Pocahontas and all that stuff. So we will go into detail about that and look at that, and that'll be a few days. Okay. So pause the video if you need to, write these answers down, or these notes down. All right, now to kind of sum up what you've learned from this and kind of show me where you're at, you're going to write a headline for each region. And you're going to label which one goes with which in your notebook. So on page 79, you're going to write them out. If it is easier for you to type them and print them, do that if I cannot read your handwriting. The example that I'm going to give you is for the Midwest, so it has nothing to do with the three regions you'll be labeling, because you're going to be labeling New England, Middle, and Southern. But if I was writing a headline for the Midwest, I might say, snow falls in the morning, 60 degrees by noon, because our weather is like kind of constantly changing and we get multiple seasons, that kind of stuff. So my headline is as if that would be on a newspaper. Okay. Or in a news article on Facebook and someone's trying to get you to click on it. All right, so you want to make them catchy, but still show me that you've taken away key parts. And it doesn't have to be about the weather. It could be about their main source of food, their main economic contribution, the important colonies, whatever. The more ideas you can pack into one headline, the better, but they can't be super long. So see, mine's pretty short. I can read it and I get interested in the story, or I don't, right? When you are done with that activity, I would like you to take a picture of it, just your headlines, and make sure I can read them. So you may have to flip your picture. And under Canvas, under January 11th, there is a headlines turn-in assignment. You're going to turn in your picture there, and then you can work on your 20% time project. And yes, you can listen to music while you're doing that. All right, thank you.